get started on today's show, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give me a like if you like what you see. And then also to let you know that I'll be on Twitch today at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time till about 7 o'clock playing some NBA Live 18. Just starting a little bit of franchise maybe, or playing some more of the one. If you want to come out and check it out, make sure to pop in at the Frontz 08 on twitch.tv at the Frontz 08, and I will see you there. Let's get started. What is going on, guys? This is the Frontz, and we are here for our Survivor Series preview and predictions episode. Make sure to hit that subscribe button for me, and let's get into this. Well, this has been an interesting month for WWE. I feel like they've been feeling NXT's pressure for weeks. For weeks, they've been feeling the pressure of NXT in War Games, even though the rules and the cage itself are going to be changed for War Games. War Games itself has been breathing down Vince McMahon's neck and done as well. And those two just woke up finally and was like, we need to put something together that is just going to wow everybody. Did they do that? I don't think so. I think it's still going to be a pretty good show, but not the best show in the world, best show ever. I mean, it'll be probably the best of the big four of the year, probably the best pay-per-view of the year. I mean, we've had some pretty bad stinkers since WrestleMania. I mean, look at Battleground. Look at TLC, it was and all those other ones. But how did we get to where we are now? It all pretty much started, and this is just like how they were able to make a pretty good show just feel like it means something in 4 weeks is amazing, because usually a 4-week period just falls flat. But I have hope that this is going to be a good show, but there's a part of me, it's like they're going to screw it up somehow, because that's just WWE for you. Of course, the night after TLC, the very first thing Kurt Angle does is he names the 4 title matches, champion versus champion, non-title matches, I should say, for Survivor Series. That's going to make up most of Survivor Series. Of course, there's going to be a men's and women's 5-on-5 match. The men's match is probably going to be one of the best matches of the night, and everything else. At the time, we had Jinder Mahal versus Brock Lesnar, Natalya versus Alexa Bliss, my bad. We had Baron Corbin versus The Miz and the Usos versus The Shield. Out of all 3 of those matches, only one remains the same. All the other ones have had championship changes, and some for the better, some for whatever. First off, let's see. The night after, later in that night, Shane was seen in the back talking to Kurt Angle, because of course Shane was advertised for the next night on SmackDown, coming back, which in my opinion, after dropping off of TLC, we shouldn't have seen Shane McMahon for months. For months. We should not have seen Shane McMahon. Period. Play off that he just this is like the last time he should have did that. He shouldn't have jumped fell off the cage to try and take somebody out. This should have been a storyline. There was rumors also going around that this was going to lead to Triple H coming back on SmackDown, taking over for Shane McMahon, and ended up leading to Kevin Owens versus Triple H at WrestleMania. Of course, that's not going to happen because of what happened what happened this past Monday. We'll get to that later. And of course, what happened later in that night. Kurt Angle came out to start naming his Survivor Series team, and Shane McMahon's music hits before he can even name one person. Up at the top of the arena where the Shield would usually be, Shane McMahon came out with himself and 95% of the SmackDown locker room, minus Randy Orton. I believe Shelton Benjamin wasn't there, and John Cena can go from either one, and a couple other ones who weren't there. They come out, they surround the ring, in big, huge. They're going to destroy this entire play style. Kurt Angle goes to the back, without, and for some reason, instead of warning everybody, he just like disappeared. That is the one inconsistency of that Under Siege that I don't get, is that Kurt Angle, where did he go? Did he run to his office and hide and not warn everybody? If it was me, I'm running to the back, it's like, guys, get out here, they're here, come on, something like that. Kurt Angle didn't do that. He just disappeared until the end of the thing. Everyone got beat up on Raw. And then, of course, Kurt Angle was brought back out. Shane McMahon told him to bring his gold medal and whatever else he could have, because they're going to see you at Survivor Series and whip your ass. Then, of course, a lot of people expected Raw to make a retaliation the next night, and that never happened. Didn't think it was going to happen. I knew it wasn't going to happen. Didn't make any sense. I think I tweeted something about it and saying that nothing happened. Well, I knew it wasn't going to. Then, of course, nothing really happened between either show the next week. Of course, during that Tuesday, at the end of the show, Daniel Bryan starting to put the seeds of he might be turning on Shane. He might, because Daniel Bryan was not consulted about the raid, and he wasn't happy about it. There's supposed to be cohesion. They're supposed to be together, and that didn't happen. The next week on Raw, I didn't forget about this. The next week on Raw, Daniel Bryan comes to Raw by himself, which was a massive mistake. He could have been ripped to shreds if it wasn't for the fact that he can't take a bump. Came to Kurt Angle, tried to reason with Kurt Angle. Then we go to commercial break. We come back. Daniel Bryan's in Kurt Angle's locker room, not locker room, but office, locked in there for his own protection. Lights go out. You see Kane gripping at Daniel Bryan, and then they fade to black as it's assumed that he was chokeslammed, which we all know this doesn't make any sense why they did it, because we all know Daniel Bryan is not allowed in WWE's care to take a bump. So why would you even pretend he was chokeslammed? All they did was they lifted him up, and then someone kicked a bunch of stuff around. That's about all that happened there. We come back, and of course, Daniel Bryan's being stretchered off. Where's Kurt Angle? Nowhere to be found. Of course, the next night on SmackDown, Shane McMahon sits there and says that he's going to extract great vengeance on Team Raw for what they did to Daniel Bryan. And that was that. There wasn't, of course, they had the Survivor Series matches, qualifying matches over the next 2 weeks. Well, it was supposed to be 3, but the next 2 weeks of Owens and Zayn, all that. Then, of course, came the changes started to happen. The UK tour changes for Survivor Series started to happen. We had The Bar versus The Shield for the tag team titles. In my opinion, I don't like the UK shows, not because they don't deserve to have them. I don't like the fact that the UK shows happen, because if something big like what happened on the Monday and Tuesday shows happened, we get them no matter what spoiled. And people were wondering, why did WWE spoil The Bar winning the titles? Why did WWE spoil AJ Styles winning the titles? Quite simple, easily. If WWE doesn't spoil them, somebody else will. There's always going to be somebody who goes to these shows. If WWE doesn't put it out on Twitter, somebody will. It'll be all over the internet, and WWE will sit in there as like, we didn't want everybody to know, but yet everybody knows. That's why they spoil it themselves, so that it doesn't get out from anybody else. Because I could go to a UK show, of course I live in the States, I could go to a UK show and watch AJ Styles defeat somebody for the title, Jinder Mahal for the title, and if WWE doesn't want to spoil it, I can fire up my phone, tweet it out, and it's there, and everybody in the world is going to see it eventually, from me or anybody else. Of course, it's not me because I don't have any followers, but you get what I'm saying. That's why WWE spoiled them. And of course, the New Day on the UK tour came to Raw, distracted everybody except for Sheamus, who was just laying there in the corner, looking all relaxed and everything, taking a powder for a minute, while everyone else is sitting there wondering what's going on. And then some go after the New Day. Of course, The Bar wins the tag team titles, giving us the Usos versus The Bar. That is the first major change in the Survivor Series. The next change came the next night and was the biggest change, and I am so happy it happened. AJ Styles goes into the UK and pins Jinder Mahal clean after taking out the Singh brothers, saving us from the worst title reign in WWE history. And I ain't kidding there. We've had Vince McMahon be WWE champion for 24 hours, and I would take him over Jinder Mahal. Because at least Vince McMahon was a legitimate heel. He wasn't a badass. He wasn't somebody who could actually probably legitimate the title, but he wouldn't bring the title down as much as Jinder Mahal did. For those 6 months, and the fact that it took them 6 months to realize, this guy isn't our guy. This guy isn't worth it. At least that's what I'm hoping. Especially with the news that the India tour isn't. It's not a tour anymore. It was a Raw show anyway. Jinder Mahal was going there to face Kevin Owens, and he was going to beat him for the 2 days and look at the strong hero. In my opinion, bad ticket sales. Nobody was going to go watch him wrestle as the champion. Nobody in India cared. He is an Indian. He's a Canadian of Indian descent. There is a total difference of a hometown hero, which he is not. So they hopefully will not give him the title back. So he does have his mandatory rematch clause because that's what everybody gets. Except for Finn Balor, he hasn't had his yet, but we'll get on that later, at a later date. So hopefully when Clash of Champions come around, AJ Styles will beat Jinder Mahal and go to WrestleMania, which he should have this past year. Go to WrestleMania as champion and go against Shinsuke Nakamura, which is a big money match. If Vince McMahon loves money, he will book that match for WrestleMania. Because for what we have been hearing, it's Jinder Mahal versus John Cena. If Jinder Mahal becomes a 2-time champion, I hope not. And Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the 2 respective titles. Tell me right now how many people want to actually see that match. Because honestly, those matches, I don't. If those are the last 2 matches of WrestleMania, I'll be watching the WWE Network. I'll watch WrestleMania from start to. Next up, Jinder Mahal versus John Cena. Whoop, I'm out. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. I'm out. I ain't watching them. Not at all. They're not worth watching. Neither one of those matches. I don't want to see John Cena win the WWE Championship for his 17th title reign and then lose it at a Backlash or whatever the pay-per-view SmackDown is going to be after WrestleMania in a week and a half or so. His 16th title reign was 2 weeks. That's ridiculous and dumb. It should have been a bigger deal, but I'm getting off topic here, so yes. Those were the 2 major changes coming out of the UK tour. Then we fast forward to this past week. Raw didn't really do a change on any of the titles, but they did make a big change when it came to the men's 5-on-5. Because the week before, Jason Jordan, of all people, was put on the men's 5-on-5 Survivor Series team. On Saturday, I'm pretty sure it was on Saturday, this past Saturday, Shane McMahon comes out on Twitter and announces John Cena is going to be the 5th man. It actually could have been Wednesday last week. I'm not sure exactly. But he actually comes out and says John Cena is going to be the 5th man of the team SmackDown. Which a lot of people are like, so Kurt Angle, let me ask you something. You picked your son Jason Jordan over John Cena, and yes, Stephanie McMahon did make this point known that he picked Jason Jordan over John Cena. For what reason? Oh, because he's his son. Then, of course, later that night, after a match where Bray Wyatt gets beat, which Bray Wyatt, what are they going to do with him? I don't know. We can talk about that another time. But he does get beat by Jason Jordan. Then he attacks him after the match. Wraps his arm his leg against the those big, huge LED posts, which I don't like those. Don't feel they're just whatevers. But he wraps his leg around that. Kurt Angle's in the back, looking shocked and everything. We see Kurt Angle in the back with Jason Jordan at the trainers talking, and he's pretty much contemplating taking Jason Jordan out of the match. Jason Jordan is trying everything he can to beg his father, pretty much in tears, begging his father to keep him in the match. And you can hear the crowd in the background. The crowd did not care. This guy, who was great in American Alpha, they shouldn't have broke that team up just for the heck of it. I mean, yes, Gable and Benjamin are doing pretty good on their own right now, but these two were a great tag team. They should not have broken them up, at least not yet. Chad Gable's got the bigger upside, in my opinion. This entire thing with Jason Jordan has been a massive failure. He gets beaten down by Bray Wyatt after the match, and you hear "Thank you, Jordan," "Thank you, Wyatt," and the goodbye song from the crowd. If that's not a failure to WWE, I don't know what is. I mean, hell, they had Jinder Mahal as WWE champion for 6 months, and for the last 4 or 5 of that, he wasn't coming out to any reaction. But that's neither here nor there. Later in that show, of course, Kurt Angle comes out talking about how this is going to be the hardest decision of his life. Where he pretty much talks about how Jason Jordan was injured and he's going to have to take him out of the match. Jason comes out pretty much in tears. I mean, I'll give it up to Jason Jordan for trying to be the best, have the best sobbing that he could about being taken out of this match. But, dude, the crowd, again, did not care. I thought I would never see this again again on WWE television legitimately. Without her, destroying the cheers. Stephanie McMahon comes out while he's begging his father to keep him on the team to applause, to cheer. She was actually turned for a minute or so, a babyface, because she saved us from Jason Jordan crying and whining and complaining and wanting to stay on this team. Then, of course, Triple H comes out, buries Jason Jordan by hitting him with a pedigree after, of course, making him the 5th man of Team Raw for Survivor Series, which in and of itself is a better move because you got John Cena on SmackDown. You got to counter with somebody as big as Triple H. I mean, you're not going to get anybody else, are you? There's nobody else really. That's a detriment of how WWE does things nowadays. Then, of course, on SmackDown, we had Charlotte winning the women's title over there, so that's another major change we've had. So every champion versus champion match but one had changed from except for one, to okay, this is going to be a little bit more interesting. Miz and Baron Corbin better be the first match of the night, so we can get it out of the way and just move on. It might be the bathroom break that we see before we have, because you're going to have a match between the 5-on-5 and Brock versus AJ. I mean, come on. You can't have those matches go back to back, unless Brock versus AJ is 2 minutes or like a minute and a half, like Goldberg versus Brock last year was. And of course, on SmackDown, you had the cringiest opening of SmackDown I have ever seen, with Shane McMahon rallying the troops. What did it do for them? Absolutely nothing, because later in the show, as Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens were taking on the New Day, Team Raw, led by the Shield, because you knew the Shield was going to lead the charge, came down to take their shot at the New Day. Owens and Zayn, of course, left the ring, left the New Day to them, and everybody from both sides started coming in and brawling. Braun Strowman, of course, came in with Kurt Angle calling him, and pretty much cleaned house of SmackDown. And the Shield had Shane McMahon going around from post to post, showing off and letting some of them get licks in on Shane. They hit the triple power bomb. Kurt Angle hit an angle slam. For some reason, Braun Strowman comes to the ring. He doesn't do anything. And of course, he had another triple power bomb. Everybody from Raw is on the ramp on the stage now, all happy and everything of what they did. Raw theme plays, and that was the end of that. And now we come to Survivor Series. Before we get to the main card, we have a pre-show match, which I haven't talked about anything between Enzo and Kalisto because I don't care. And a year and a half ago, I wouldn't have said that, because the Cruiserweight Classic was one of the best put-on productions in WWE Network history. Not WWE history, but WWE Network history. It was great. It was awesome. I loved everything about it. And Marlon Arrow and Daniel Bryan were the best commentary team for that, and the whole thing was great. Then came the Cruiserweights to Raw. I like the way they started off. You put 4 of the best Cruiserweights in a match, 3 to 4-way for the number 1 contendership to take on T.J. Perkins, He was known to TJ Perkins at the time. I think it was at SummerSlam or whatever the next pay-per-view they were doing. No, it wasn't SummerSlam. Whatever the pay-per-view for Raw was. But I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. That's a good thing that they did. And it was all downhill from there. Then January came around and Neville started like putting a heartbeat back in the cruiserweights, but not enough. Him and Aries put on some great matches. Aries left. Neville kept on being the best thing about the cruiserweights. Then they gave the title to Enzo. Gave it to Kalisto for a minute. Gave it back to Enzo. Today, can anyone honestly think a year ago that Enzo Amore would be a 2-time cruiserweight champion? I sure as heck didn't. I figured he would have been featured in Endeavor by now. Because he is god-awful and garbage. I don't care how good of a talker he is. He is worthless to the business. So, yes, you have Kalisto versus Enzo Amore for the Cruiserweight title on the pre-show because 9 out of 10, 10 out of 12 Cruiserweight Championship matches for the title have been on the pre-show. But Enzo's going to win the match, or Kalisto's going to win the match by DQ or count out to further the feud, because who else do they got? Seriously, they ain't going to build up anybody else unless Hideo Itami is going to be the next one to get it. Which, if they gave Hideo Itami the title, that'd be nice. Get it off of Enzo. I'm so sick of him. Then, of course, we have the main card, which, of course, we're going to start out from what I think is going to be the... I'm hoping this is how the order of the card goes. Baron Corbin versus The Miz. I'm going to go with Baron Corbin just because of his size and the fact that this match I don't care about. This is going to be one of those that I think he's just going to hit the end of days after a beatdown of The Miz. The Miz Trials will try and get involved. Baron Corbin will destroy both of them, and that's that. The Raw Women's Championship versus SmackDown Women's Championship match. Charlotte Flair versus Natalya. Versus Alexa Bliss. My bad. I keep messing that up. Alexa Bliss versus Charlotte Flair. I'm going with Charlotte for this one simply because they just did a 30 for 30 on ESPN for Ric Flair, which, if you have not seen it yet, you should go see it. It is pretty good. But they want to ride that wave of that and the momentum they can get out of that with Charlotte. So she's going to beat Alexa Bliss with the figure 8 in about 10-15 minutes, if I'm counting that right. So the Raw Tag Team, the women's match for the women's 5-on-5, I can see being next back-to-back. I could be wrong. But the 5-on-5 women's match is going to be, it's Alicia Fox, Nia Jax, Asuka, Sasha Banks, and Bayley versus Becky Lynch, Carmella, Tamina Snuka, and they have not told us what the TBA, which I think is either going to be Natalya or Paige. Paige, for all those you know, was being rumored to be back on Monday Night Raw to win and be actually in this match, but she really kind of messed herself up out of that one because they wanted to be a surprise. Well, first off, Ryan Satin and everybody else was pretty much reporting it, and second off, she took a picture with Alicia Fox and put it on Instagram and was doing a bunch of other things to say, "Hey guys, I'm back," instead of doing the Chris Jericho route, which nobody gives him enough credit for. When Chris Jericho comes back, you don't know until until his music hits. Maybe people like when the Dudley Boys came back, they did the same thing. I didn't know. Nobody really knew that they were coming back until it happened. Same thing with Matt and Jeff, even though more people thought that they were going to be back at WrestleMania. If you're returning from injury superstar, don't post anything on social media letting us know you're back. We want the surprise to be there. I was watching that triple threat match, and the thing they put on WWE's Twitter page about the match, like start of the match or something. There was like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tweets of "Where's Paige? Paige, where's Paige? Paige, where's Paige? Paige was supposed to be here." That's not. If we know she's coming back, it's not going to be surprising. WWE doesn't like to work that way when they bring back somebody as influential as Paige could be. But Team Raw is going to win this one. My feeling is Tamina's gone in no time. Carmella's gone in no time. Alicia Fox will probably be the first person eliminated from the match because she's just there for whatever sakes. It's going to come down to Asuka on Raw versus versus Becky Lynch and Naomi and the third person. That's it. It's going to be Asuka versus those three. Maybe even Carmella. I'm not sure, but Tamina is going to be eliminated first, not even too far into the match. But it's going to be Asuka, who probably won't be tagged in at all during the beginning of the match at all. She's going to be the sole survivor of Raw to build up her mystique and try and give her a little bit more of that punch, that mystique back that they kind of lost when she went toe-to-toe with Emma, and it wasn't a one-sided affair, which was a big mistake, and I think they kind of figured that. But Asuka will be the sole survivor. She will win it for Team Raw. New Day versus the Shield. That's going to be the Shield. No, there's nothing to say about that. They're doing it for Roman. They want Roman to be the number one guy in the company. He's actually getting cheered. He's not getting any boos right now. When the Shield breaks away and Dean Ambrose probably turns heel, which is desperately needed, Roman Reigns will go back to being just normal Roman Reigns. And when we get closer to the Rumble, we'll talk about how things are probably going to go bad for them. But Uso, the New Day, are going to get beat handily in this match. I think it's just going to be a squash match. 2 to 3 minutes probably. I could be wrong. They want to make the Shield look strong. Just beat down the New Day because New Day doesn't have any momentum right now. And the Shield is riding that high from this past Monday. Tag team versus tag team, title, non-title, champion versus champion. I'm going with the Usos. Best tag team in WWE and probably in the world since they turned heel last year. When they turned heel last year, I was a little skeptical because I didn't know what, these guys haven't been heel in 6 years. They came in as a heel tag team. They eventually became babyface and they just stuck with it. This is definitely not the heel Usos that you saw back when they came in 2010, I believe it was. Was it 2010? I'm pretty sure 2011, one of those two. It's been a while, but when they turned heel, it was one of the best things. And this team right here is a testament of why Talking Smack is needed, because these guys went on Talking Smack that episode and pretty much just set the world on fire. And just announce that we are bad guys now, and we are here, and we are going to wreck everybody. So I'm going with them. The Bar, I think, is just going to lose the titles back to the Shield in no time, and it's going to be the Shield holding the titles till we have somebody else come up and hopefully take the titles from them. Let's see here. I think we did all the title matches already. Yeah, 5-on-5, Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. Oh, we do have one more, but we'll get to that after. Team Raw versus Team SmackDown of Kurt Angle, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, and Triple H versus Shane McMahon, Randy Orton, Bobby Roode, Shinsuke Nakamura, and John Cena. Team Raw is going to win this one, plain and simple. Unless, of course, they want Team SmackDown to win, but I have a feeling Jason Jordan's going to get involved and either screw Triple H or his own father out of the match to hurt Raw. But then Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are going to totally screw over Team SmackDown. And SmackDown is going to lose thanks to the disservice of Owens and Zayn. And that's going to lead to something bigger for them against Shane McMahon and everything else. Maybe they get moved over to Raw. We don't know. But it's going to be a very interesting match. And of course, we have what I know is going to be the main event. Brock Lesnar doesn't work the main event. Brock Lesnar doesn't come to a pay-per-view to not work the main event, so this is going to be the main event. AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar. AJ Styles will not win this match. Hopefully, it will be in more than 2 minutes. I'm hoping it will be like a 5, 10, 15-minute match with AJ Styles doing, of course, most of the work. He could bring Brock Lesnar to a great match. Hopefully, we can still see some of that Brock Lesnar that was there when he wrestled CM Punk in SummerSlam a couple years ago. That was a great match. That was match of the year. I believe it was 2013. That was match of the year that year. That was a wonderful match, and I really want, if you haven't seen that match, go back to the Best of the World versus the Beast, which was a couple of SummerSlams ago, and check that match out. That match was amazing. So, overall, Raw is going to win the day, but I have a feeling that, yes, Jason Jordan is going to get involved somehow. If he doesn't, I would be shocked as can be. Owens and Zayn are definitely going to get involved, and screw over Shane McMahon, screw over Team SmackDown, and send Team Raw to victory. The Usos will go over the Bar. Charlotte will go over Alexa Bliss. Brock over AJ. Team Raw's women's over Team SmackDown women. The Baron Corbin versus The Miz match can be a toss-up. I think Baron Corbin's going to win it, but it really doesn't matter. I don't care about that match. I can see that being the match between the 5-on-5 and the world title, the world title champion versus champion match, because you need a bathroom break match. You're not going to have people wanting to go to the bathroom between that 5-on-5 and the Rock versus AJ match, unless you have a match to go there. So I think they're going to have that match be the next to last match, simply because you need a match to go to the bathroom, and that's the match to do it. But that is your Survivor Series preview predictions for me. I am the Frontz. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at the Frontz. Follow me on twitch.tv/thefrontz08, and I will see you guys later. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on Saturday night for NXT TakeOver War Games review. Until then, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you later.